Yeah, this is Paul. Yeah. Yeah, I was just sitting here thinking about this inheritance rights of children. Yeah. I have 5 sons, children born in wedlock, who are the offspring of both parents, are entitled to all the property of both parents die intestate. Yeah. If one parent is still alive, the children may receive one half, 1/3, or of or none of the property of the dead parent, depending on state law. Yeah. I have 5 sons. Yes. And I have emailed law enforcement about where are they. When you issue a protection order without the petitioner's signature and without giving the actual notice and opportunity to the respondent, I have the legal right to know where are my 5 sons. Pooch. Now, I know when I email police departments and sheriff's departments and those in the FBI and they don't respond, as a parent, I would say that that's causing unnecessary emotional stress on my personal life. Now, I talked about no limitations to the damages. Let's say you're an elected or appointed oath of office and you get an email from me and I say, well, I want an email from my sons. I want to know where they're at. As a parent, I have the right to know where are my sons. Now, you're in the police department or sheriff's department, or you're an elected or appointed oath of office, or you're a city, county, federal, or state employee, and you think, well, I don't have to find that out. You actually do. You cannot not tell a parent where their kids are. Now, when I say my sons are missing and exploited, and those in law enforcement decide, well, we don't have to communicate with the guy, even though I explain I don't have any cell phone minutes, and I'm not going to go to the police department or the sheriff's department and ask them to do what the law requires. As a parent, even though you issued a protection order where there was no jurisdiction, as a parent that has pointed out that the state of Washington was the plaintiff, and still without prejudice, they could open that case again. They were forcibly taken from me because of the use of forgeries. Now, I just want to make sure that when you understand no limitations to the damages, that you do not have the right to not inform me of where my sons are at. Okay. Now, I just needed a little intelligence. There's what's known as iris scans. I was informed earlier today when I was using the restroom that I need to wash my hands more. And in the super top secret fish way of looking at things, oh right, oh sex, make sure your hands are clean. Now, these different types of bacterial what do they call them? The bacterial soaps that make sure that your hands are clean. And I agreed with the person that told me that. He said, well, you need to wash your hands more. I'm like, okay, I can do that. But I just wondered about the skin difference between a clone, a fish, and a person. Pooch. Now, you would think that the bacteria on the skin of a fish would be different than the bacteria on the skin of a man. I just want to know what's on the skin of the hands of those that are clones and fish that have that icky mucus on their foreskins. And what kind of soap does a clone and a fish use to keep their hands clean? Now, I'm going to need to know all the iris scanning technology that involves eyes. I've noticed when looking in the eyes of certain individuals that their eyes seem different to myself. It seemed like when you have a clone on a person that the pupils are somewhat, they're not dilated. It's the opposite of dilating a pupil. Yes, it is. Now, let's say you went through all the eye scanning technology everywhere in the government. Yep. And there are some top secret, high security types of positions. I mean, in the FBI or CIA or some of these real high security, and you put a clone on a person, and you see that their pupils are like this big. I mean, they're just little pupils. They're like that big. And then you look at it, and you're like, you did something to my eyes. I want all the eye scanning technology that's used in every government of the world. And then there's always that Google Earth, excuse me. Yes. When I was on Guam, there were these cars that drive around that supposedly map the streets, but I had read an article where they have a certain type of car that maps the streets, but actually they collect the local area networks of all the various Wi-Fi and internet usage of cities and counties and states. I just wanted to know every corporation that does know the actual internet usage of every individual in the population where they have had Google Streets or Bing. Because if you're using one of these cars to actually take the internet usage of each and every person as a resident of a city, it's not that you're mapping the streets, you're mapping the actual Wi-Fi usage of areas. So I'm going to need that. I just want to know how many corporations and if there are any government agencies that are using any vehicles to map the local area networks. And as I was talking to a guy, it seemed like somebody was driving around Port Angeles not so long ago, mapping not just the streets in Port Angeles, but it could have been that they were there's a bug on my forearm. They were mapping the internet. Now, give me all of the mapped internet usage in every city of the world. And then give me every street that's been mapped by any sort of vehicle or any other type of move. It could be like a scatter van. They got like 50 or 100 of those scatter vans. Yes! They could scatter right through a wall or something like that. Yeah. Now I'm going to want those rights. And I want to know, where are my sons?